Okay, we're
All right.
live, Bill. How are you?
Good. How are you? We're trying this a little differently, so if there's a little awkwardness, that's why. But Tom, obviously there's an event coming up on Monday, and it's in addition to Martin Luther King Day. One question I want to ask you: what is more likely, 3 inches of snow at the Minneapolis airport for Monday, or a Packers win over the Cowboys?
Um, well, you say that. Say it one more time. Packers. I can
Okay.
say this: Packers
What is more
win
like
against the
what's more
Cowboys.
likely to
No,
happen?
but what was that first thing?
What's more likely to happen? 3 inches of official snowfall at Minneapolis St. Paul on Monday, or
Yeah.
a Packers win over the Cowboys?
Okay, I will be shocked at both. How does that sound?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, this it has the makings of an ice storm. Not only in the Twin Cities, I don't think the ice storm is going to be as bad up in the Twin Cities, but the further south you go, when you get towards the Minnesota-Iowa border along the I-90 corridor in southern Minnesota, I think you're going to progressively get thicker amounts of ice. And then, of course, down into Iowa. And this extends all the way down into Oklahoma and Texas, Bill. So, and that was one thing that I'd mentioned to some of my viewers on Facebook is, it's odd. It's really rare to get such a large expanse of ice storm that covers so much real estate. That's why I find this scenario, this winter storm, to be very impressive. Again, there won't be a lot of snow, especially when you head up into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Not a lot of snow, maybe just a few inches in some places, but the ice is going to be something that we need to watch out for.
Tom, is the reason that you think there'll be less of an issue in the Twin Cities, is that because you expect just generally less precipitation, or more of it will be snow?
No, I expect less precipitation. By the time the storm reaches Minnesota and Wisconsin, it should be losing some of its punch. That's why I think Iowa and Nebraska, they're going to likely receive the brunt of this storm. We will be kind of hit with the leftovers, but it will still certainly cause travel problems, no doubt, especially as you head into Monday afternoon and evening, and then Tuesday morning it may hang around yet. So, and that's why we have winter weather advisors, or at least winter storm watches, in effect right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, does that surprise you? That at least for the Twin Cities, that there's a storm watch.
No, it doesn't surprise me, because anytime you get even just a little bit of ice, it can certainly make a big difference out there, and a big deal. Good thing that some businesses are closed. I know schools are closed on Monday because of Martin Luther King Day. So that should help out a little bit. But yeah, having an ice storm occur on Monday is a serious situation. So they should be warning the public right now. Hey, Bill, right now you should see the jet stream.
Yep.
This is from the NAM computer model. And we're looking into this weekend. This is tomorrow, the jet stream. Again, this is the river of air at 30,000 feet. This is where jets like to put it on cruise control. And we're looking for a storm.
That's the level at which the Delta flight attendants start to get pretty unpleasant, right? It kind of not nice.
Yes.
Okay,
that's right. They do. That's when you start getting your food bill on the plane. That's right at about 30,000 feet. So yeah, it's a little bit more work for the flight attendants at that stage. So, but anyway, we're looking for storms, Bill, and you can obviously see one here in the desert Southwest coming up out of New Mexico, right in your area, your neck of the woods right now.
Yep.
But this is a pretty serious storm system. Now, the reason why I think this is going to be mostly rain and ice is because this storm is originating in the Baja of California and then the desert Southwest. So it's going to have an ample opportunity to suck up some warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico and shove it north into Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Now, on Sunday, we're still going to have a pretty nice day. We should have sunshine tomorrow. It'll be the calm before the storm. But look at what happens as we head into Monday and the jet stream structure. We are in between two jet streaks, one here over Texas and the other one here over the Great Lakes. And when you're in the middle of that, or in between that, where there isn't much wind, that's where a lot of lift occurs in our atmosphere, Bill. And that will be happening right here in Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa on Monday morning. And then that area just lifts north right into southern Minnesota Monday night and Tuesday morning. So,
Tom, what is it about the weather situation that will be creating such a wide area of frozen precipitate, of ice and sleet? I mean, typically, it seems like there's a band of that, and it quickly changes over as you go north, and changes over to rain as you go south. But why is it such a wide area?
Right. Well, here's the problem. First off, at the surface, well, Bill, since you're in New Mexico, you haven't been up here. Maybe you've been keeping an eye on the temperatures, but the surface temperatures here in Minnesota and Wisconsin have been below zero. And right now, well, at least tonight, we're going to drop into the single digits. And that cold air at the surface is sinking all the way south into Oklahoma. But here's the problem, Bill. These are the temperatures at 850 millibars. So this is just above the surface. And look how warm it is for this time of year. This is Sunday morning. These are actually pretty warm temperatures just above the surface of the earth. So we have this, what's considered an overrunning effect that's going to happen, where temperatures are going to be above 32 degrees Fahrenheit as we head into Sunday. And then let's look at Monday. You can see this is Monday morning. Here's Monday afternoon. Look at this warm surge of air coming up out of the Gulf of Mexico into southern Minnesota. But yet at the surface, Bill, and let's just put the surface temperatures up there one moment. At the surface, our temperatures are going to be still, one moment, right around freezing, about 31 degrees in the Twin Cities on Monday afternoon. So that's a recipe for at least some ice. Now the hope is that our temperatures get near or just above 32 degrees. So it's going to be a real tricky forecast as we head into Monday, because if the temperatures do get above 32, that's going to mean good news for us. One other thing that we need to keep in mind, Bill, is that temperatures underneath the concrete, underneath the sidewalks, temperatures down there are around 20 degrees right now. So even though the temperature at the surface may get to be above 32 degrees, we still have cold air underneath the surface that is going to cool the pavements, especially during the overnight and the early morning hours. So, there's a lot that goes into this, and this is why the Weather Service is going to be pulling out their hair over the next couple of days. This is the future radar, Bill, from the NAM computer model. And here it comes. There's that surge of moisture coming up out of Iowa into southern Minnesota. This is right at about 6 a.m. on Monday morning. That's when we're going to start to get some ice in southern Minnesota, and probably even a little spit of snow. I won't be surprised if that happens. But look at how the precipitation just overtakes southern Minnesota during the day on Monday. This looks to be a real steady, solid band of ice that's going to develop and move north into the Twin Cities. And of course, Rochester and Albert Lea and Eau Claire, all areas are going to be experiencing some ice. And the potential for it to turn to snow is there, but again, I'm just not expecting much, Bill. Now, this is what.
How much ice are you thinking? Like an eighth of an inch, a quarter of an inch?
Well, you're right on the mark here, Bill. This is the ice accumulation forecast now. This is going to be through Monday evening. Okay, watch how that ice. The pink area is ice. Okay, watch how it comes up. Here's Monday morning. You can see the ice is starting to enter southern Minnesota. And then as we head into the afternoon and evening hours, look at that. By 7 p.m. on Monday evening, we're talking over a quarter of an inch of ice from Rochester to near Albert Lea, all the way west to Sioux Falls. So that I-90 corridor is probably going to be a skating rink on Monday evening. And then that extends up into the Twin Cities, where almost a quarter of an inch of ice is expected by Monday evening. And let's just take a look at the snow forecast, at least through Monday evening, and see what the NAM computer model shows for that. There you go. 2 to 4 inches of snow, especially when you head west and north of the Twin Cities by Monday evening. I think that might be a little generous, but that could be the case. We'll have to see how this storm unfolds. But there's no doubt that the further north and west you go of the Twin Cities, of the downtowns, the more likely that you're going to at least get some snow along with some ice. And then the further south you go of the Twin Cities Metro, it will likely be all ice as we get into Monday afternoon and Monday evening. So pretty serious forecast coming up.
Tom, you haven't mentioned much about sleet. You've been just talking about ice. Is that, and obviously accumulation of sleet is easier to deal with than the glaze ice.
Right. Well, that's the problem. That's the problem with the storm, Bill, is that it's not going to be as much of a sleet storm as it's going to be a liquid storm. And again, that's because the temperatures at the lower layers of our atmosphere are going to be too warm. You usually want it below freezing at 850 millibars to get sleet. But right near and just above the surface of the Earth, the temperatures are going to be at about 35, 36, maybe even close to 40 degrees. So any ice that forms is going to melt as it reaches the ground.
As opposed to refreezing if it were a little bit cooler.
As opposed to refreezing, exactly. So again, this is an ice storm situation. We don't get these very often, especially up in Minnesota and Wisconsin, because usually it's snow or sleet, as you had mentioned. But this is a situation that certainly has ice written all over it. So with that being said, Bill, here is your travel impact map. Now, we're still 2 days away, so this is probably going to change a little bit. But with a surface low tracking from northern Missouri towards near Green Bay and Milwaukee, that would usually be a perfect track for heavy snows in southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. But because of all the warm air in the lower layers of our atmosphere, I'm very concerned about ice from about near Sioux Falls or just east of Sioux Falls and the Twin Cities on east and south. So that's the area that I think is most likely to receive a quarter of an inch, maybe even close to half an inch of ice by Tuesday morning. And then right on the northwestern edge of this ice, probably from near Sioux Falls up to St. Cloud to near Duluth, that's where I would expect a narrow band of significant snow to develop. And of course, Bill, if this storm system were to track even 30 to 50 miles further southeast, we would be talking about shifting that snow band further south in the Twin Cities. And that could happen, so keep that in mind.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like an interesting situation.
Yeah, this gives us an opportunity to think about Monday. It's going to be a busy day around here, so I don't think there's any doubt, if you've got a few minutes, that maybe we could do one more for everybody on Monday. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
One more video, that is, right?
Yeah, right.
All right.
Tom, I got to tell you, I'm concerned about the snow lovers, that they're going to be looking for bridges to jump off of because it's going to kill them, that this path has taken the classic snow path and it's just not there. I mean, these people, I feel horrible.
Right. Well, and this, of course, all comes down to what people believe. And I'm not going to get into that philosophical conversation, but this is the type of weather that should be happening in Des Moines and Kansas City rather than the Twin Cities. So I'll just leave it at that, especially in mid-January.
Yep. All righty, Tom. You can
all right, Bill. We'll see you later, and hopefully we can talk again on Monday. Bye-bye.
All right, sounds good. You hit the button.